As someone who's played through Pokemon Emerald countless times, here's what I believe would be the top 10 best Pokemon to use in a playthrough of this game. If you like videos like this, then be sure to like, share, and subscribe. So let's just hop right into it. Coming in at number 10 is Starmie. Hoenn is full of a diverse set of water-type Pokemon. In fact, there are so many that you can find a water type to fill whatever role you need for your team. And when it comes to having a special attacking water type, Starmie is amongst the best. Its base 115 speed makes it a speed demon, and its 100 special attack is respectable. Now stack that on top of the fact that it gets stab water type attacks means it becomes one of the best surf users in the game. And in a game where you have to use surf on a frequent basis means it's going to stand out a lot compared to the competition. I'm not going to stand here and pretend it has amazing bulk, but 85 defense and special defense is actually not half bad. If it wasn't enough that it's a great surf user, Starmie's move pool provides everything it'll ever need. It's got surf and psychic for stab, as well as thunderbolt, thunder, ice beam, and blizzard for coverage. When a Pokemon can learn thunderbolt and ice beam, it's called bolt beam. And it's a great thing to have because no monotype resists both attacks. And there's not that many dual types which resist Bolt Beam. And if you want, you can use Thunder or Blizzard, which are stronger variants of Thunderbolt and Ice Beam. Yes, they have less accuracy, so that's up to you if you value more power when it comes with this drawback. Starmie also has cosmic power to raise its defense and special defense simultaneously. But what's even better is its access to recover. It has everything it'll ever need, like I said, but the only thing holding it back is that you can only get it once you've reached the final gym. That's because Starmie is a stone-based evolution, so it requires the Water Stone to evolve, and you can't get a Water Stone until just before the 8th gym. I'd love to put Starmie higher, but because there are so many other good water types, means you can have 2 or 3 before you can obtain Starmie. Coming in at number 9 is Tentacruel, another water type. Tentacruel is one of the most common Pokemon in the game. You can find one pretty much anywhere where there is water, so in any normal playthrough or even a Nuzlocke, you're practically guaranteed to encounter one. But just because it's a common encounter doesn't mean it's bad. This thing is a beast, even as Tentacruel. Tentacruel has a base 100 special defense and 70 speed, so even at first early on in the game, it's fast and it's a special defensive wall, plus it's a water type. Water type has always been such a solid type offensively and defensively, but they're even better in Emerald. Only 2 gyms are weak to water types, but that number goes up when you take into account Tate and Liza have 4 Pokemon, where 3 of which are weak to water, as well as Winona, whose team is not weak to water, but it's weak to ice, and pretty much every water type can learn Ice Beam. So realistically, water types have the advantage over half the gym leaders, and their only weakness is to Watson. So I'd argue Tentacruel and Tentacruel are amongst the best of the bunch when it comes to water types in this game. Tentacruel's got base 80 HP, base 120 special defense, and 100 speed. It's already enough that it's able to outspeed most of the opponents, but being able to sponge special attacks is a blessing. But to be fair, Tentacruel is not going to be outputting insane amounts of damage, but that's okay. That's not its role on the team. It's there to absorb attacks, and that's exactly what it's gonna do. Plus, it gets Stab Sludge Bomb, so it's able to poison Pokemon in the process. So if you need a bulky Pokemon to add to your team, Tentacruel is an excellent option. And at number 8, we've got Gardevoir. Gardevoir isn't just a fan favorite Pokemon. It's actually really competent throughout the entire playthrough. Routes is attainable before the first gym, and it'll quickly show you why it's great to add to the team. Sure, Routes is frail, but it'll know Confusion. This is a rather strong move for so early on in the game, and it's going to pack more of a punch once it evolves into Kirlia once it reaches level 20. It's a great Pokemon to destroy Brawly, then just 1 level after evolving, it'll learn Calm Mind. Calm Mind raises its special stats by 1 stage, and we all know how good it is to raise your own stats. What makes Kirlia unique is its ability to fortify its special defense and special attack against Watson. Watson has 2 fully evolved Pokemon with base special attacks over 100, and I can't stress enough how brutal Watson is. He's only the 3rd gym leader, and there's not many Pokemon which are fully evolved at this point, so he's able to hit like a truck. But Kirlia being one of the few Pokemon with Calm Mind at its disposal this early on heightens its viability. Kirlia learns Psychic at level 26, and again, it's insane that it learns such a strong move so early on. Psychic has 90 power, yet Kirlia learns this around the 4th gym. Not many Pokemon have access to a move with 90 power at this point, but Kirlia does, and it can increase the power of Psychic in conjunction with Calm Mind. Stab grants a 50% boost in power to Kirlia's Psychic type attacks, so Kirlia can spam a move that has 135 power, which is insane. Yeah, it comes off its base 65 special attack, so I wouldn't say it's anything too special, but upon evolving into Gardevoir, its special attack nearly doubles. Psychic may not be the nuke it once was in Generation 1, but Gardevoir is an example of how good Psychic type is in the right hands. Sydney and Phoebe's Pokemon have the advantage over Gardevoir, but outside of them, Gardevoir can be rather effective in just about every other battle. Now coming in at number 7, we've got Skarmory. When it comes to physically defensive Pokemon, you'll find no better option than Skarmory. Its base 140 defense is already high enough, but the main reason why Skarmory is a flying tank is because it's a steel type. Steel resists 11 types, so it rarely has to worry about getting hit by super effective attacks. You can get one right after defeating Watson, so there's no need to worry about its electric type weakness. But you get it right before Flannery's gym, so it's not smart to use it against her. But after you defeat Flannery, it's smooth sailing from there. Norman's Slacking threatens most Pokemon because this thing is just absurdly powerful. It has a base 160 attack, and that's capable of one-shotting most of the Pokemon, especially if you're not prepared or you're underleveled. But because Skarmory's defense is so high and it resists its attacks, it's able to outlast Slacking. Winona and Tantalizer don't fare much better against Skarmory either. Skarmory resists her flying types and their psychic types, so they have to try to chip away at its health. Skarmory is just so good because it is great at what it does, tanking attacks, and we have its steel type to thank for that. Now, Skarmory doesn't have a very good move pool. Its best moves are going to be Steel Wing and Fly, so you can slap on Stand Attack, Leer, Agility, Swift, or whatever else you want, and it has to work with that. But Steel Wing and Fly are definitely good enough to carry it through the rest of the game. Outside of Glacia, it's not going to hit that many Pokemon for super effective damage, but that's fine, because just like Tentacruel, it's not on your team to output insane amounts of damage. It's mainly used to be a wall. For number 6, I'm going to put another water type here, and that's going to be Milotic. I was a little skeptical adding Milotic to this list because it's absurd what you have to go through to get one. First off, you have to catch Feebas, which can only be found on Route 119, but unlike normal Pokemon which just have a chance to spawn anywhere in the area, Feebas only appears on 6 tiles. Mind you, Route 19 has over 600 tiles, and these tiles are chosen at random, so to my knowledge, there's no way to immediately know which tile Feebas will spawn. So you have to use one of the rods to fish in every single tile and hope you land on one of these 6 tiles where Feebas has a 50% chance to spawn. Yeah, there's a certain method involving Gulpin you can use to make it a little easier, but who knows when you're gonna find it. It can be 1 minute, it can be 1 hour, it can be 1 day. It really just comes down to RNG, so it can be a bit tedious. Then, you have to max out Feebas's beauty in order for it to evolve. It's a grueling long process, but once you have Milotic, it's one of the best water types there is. Milotic has base 95 HP and base 125 special defense. Milotic is not lacking in the power department either. It's got base 100 special attack, which is the same as Starmie's. But if you take a closer look at Milotic's stats, you'll notice it's extremely similar to Tentacruel's. But Milotic hits harder and has better overall bulk, but it's just not as fast. It is a painful Pokemon to get, but if you do, it's better than Tentacruel in nearly every metric. Sure, it's not a poison type like Tentacruel, so it doesn't get stab or poison type attacks, and it's weak to grass, but that also means Milotic is not weak to ground and psychic. Milotic also has a superior moveset. It's got Recover to heal itself, Rain Dance to set the rain, which will in turn boost all water type attacks by 50%, so Milotic can spam Surf, which will have 180 power when you factor in Stab and Rain Dance, as well as Ice Beam for coverage. It's also got the ability Marvel Scale. This ability will boost the user's defense when afflicted by status. Its base 79 defense is nothing to brag about, but if you manage to get burned or paralyzed, it's going to be a wall on the physical and special side. If you're trying to speedrun the game and you want something easily accessible, I'd say go with Tentacruel. But if you're willing to go the extra mile to obtain Milotic, it's clearly the superior of the two. And at number 5, we have the counterpart to Milotic, Gyarados. Gyarados is truly a monster amongst monsters. There's a reason it's called the atrocious Pokemon. Its stats are the same as Milotic's, but they're just redistributed a little differently. Gyarados has a base attack stat of 125, and that's really impressive considering the 100 to 130 range is where most Pokemon cap out when it comes to their attack or special attack. You got Pokemon like Rhydon and Hariyama reaching this threshold, but typically this is reserved for Pokemon which require a little more effort to obtain, like the Gen 1 trait evolutions and some of the pseudo-legendaries. Most legendaries aren't even cracking base 120, but Gyarados does. Yeah, you have to get Magikarp, and Magikarp is pathetic while only knowing Tackle and Splash, but you're not stuck with Magikarp for too long, so you can get one around the 2nd and 3rd gym. Getting this so early on is insane, but I will admit that Gyarados has a very niche application when it comes to its physical attack. Since this is Generation 3, the physical special split has yet to occur, so while you can use water-type moves for stab, it's nothing special coming off its base 60 special attack. So it's definitely one of the worst stab water-type users in the game. Gyarados can't even learn a flying type move, so it's really unfortunate it can't make use of any of its stab options. Therefore, you're stuck running Strength, Thrash, maybe Hidden Power depending on if you have a physical type, and Earthquake. But you don't get Earthquake until before the 8th gym. Although it's hard for Gyarados to make use of its best stat, it's still got some insanely good bulk. Base 95 HP and base 100 special defense. Sure, base 79 defense isn't the best, but Gyarados has access to hands down the best ability ever, Intimidate. This will lower the attack of the opponent by 1 stage whenever Gyarados enters battle. Simply having the ability to do so by switching into battle is invaluable. So while its attacking options are limited, it's still gonna hit hard, and Gyarados is a great Pokemon to throw into battle mid-fight. It's got good bulk, and it's gonna lower the opponent's attack, so naturally, it's great for playthroughs, but even a better option when it comes to Nuzlocks. It's really unfortunate it can't make use of its stab attacks, and it only has a very limited number of physical attacks to use, but Gyarados is still a beast. It's gonna shred through the game and live up to the name as the atrocious Pokemon. For number 4, we've got one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, Breloom. Breloom is undoubtedly the best grass type to use in this game. Yeah, it's not the best special attacking grass type, but base 130 attack is no joke. It's got Mach Punch for priority, then learns Sky Uppercut at level 36, which is twice as strong as Mach Punch. It even learns Headbutt, which isn't half bad. Its Mega Drain is nothing special, but you can teach it Giga Drain through TM, which will come in handy for Juan and Wallace. If you select Torchic as your starter, then you're gonna have a difficult time when it comes to Roxanne. Most of the Pokemon you catch before you can face her don't fare that well against her team. The best Pokemon to use against her will be Lotad, Wingull, Marill, and Shroomish. Lotad and Marill are just incredibly weak, so good luck. And while Wingull has Water Gun, it's also a flying type, so it's weak to rock. So Shroomish is objectively the best Pokemon you can find to use against Roxanne. It's stronger than Lotad and Marill, and it's not weak to rock. It's gonna have a Leech Seed, Stun Spore, and Absorb before you reach her gym, so her first 2 Pokemon aren't gonna give you that much difficulty. And Nosepass has far more special defense and lacks a 4 times weakness to grass, but it has a Leech Seed and Stun Spore to make this a smooth battle. It's not just Roxanne Shroomish holds up against, but also Watson, undoubtedly the hardest battle in this game. Shroomish can evolve into Breloom at this point, so upon evolution, it's gonna learn to Mach Punch, and it's gonna resist his attacks. Watson has a Magneton, and his Magneton is such a pain to deal with because it's a Steel type, so it's gonna resist most of the attacks in the game. However, Mach Punch is going to deal super effective damage, making this battle significantly easier. The Breloom line has a signature move in this game, Spore. This is the only move with 100 accuracy which will put a Pokemon to sleep. That's busted on Breloom considering its base 130 attack which will do insane amounts of damage while the target is asleep. But it can only learn this move as Shroomish, and Shroomish doesn't learn Spore until level 54. That is quite literally the end of the game, so it sucks you have to wait so long, therefore you're better off evolving Shroomish as soon as possible. Yeah, it sucks it can't use Spore, but hey, Breloom is still a monster. Breloom struggles against Flannery, Titan Liza, and especially Winona because her Pokemon hit Breloom for 4 times damage, but aside from them, it's going to be a great contributor in every other battle. Base 130 attack is no joke, so while its grass type moves are nothing to brag about, its fighting type moves and any other physical attack will hurt. What makes Breloom so effective is that it's a hard hitter and a great support Pokemon. Stun Spore can paralyze the opponent, and Leech Seed will gradually restore your health at the end of each turn. You can also teach it Bulk Up, which is going to make it one of the best physical attackers there is. It's a strong physical attacker and a great support Pokemon, and you get it very early on in the game. This is a grass type that should not be slept on. And now that we're down to the top 3, I'm giving number 3 to none other than Salamence. You have to catch a Bagon in Meteor Falls, and its level will range between 25 and 35. Bagon has pretty bad stats, but fortunately, Bagon evolves into Shelgon at level 30, so you won't be stuck with it for very long. Shelgon isn't bad, but I wouldn't call it amazing, and Shelgon won't evolve into Salamence until level 50, which is around the 8th gym. Once it evolves into Salamence though, this thing is going to be absolutely terrifying. Salamence also has Intimidate, and as I said earlier, we know this ability is just insane. Because Salamence is a pseudo-legendary, it has a base stat total of 600, something only few Pokemon can reach. It's got some decent bulk with base 100 speed and even better base 135 attack and base 110 special attack. All of this culminates to create a Pokemon with great bulk, speed, and the best mixed attacker there is. It's got Dragon Claw and Fly for stab and coverage moves like Flamethrower, Iron Tail, and Brick Break. It's just a monster that's going to shred through the remaining battles. Sydney's team is pretty frail, so they're going to get blown out the water. You can keep Bite on Salamence to hit Phoebe's Ghost-type Pokemon, and while Glacia is really threatening considering Salamence has a 4 times weakness to Ice, you can try something since it has Brick Break and Iron Tail. But Drake is absolutely going to get destroyed. All Salamence needs to do is spam Dragon Claw. But what could possibly be better than Salamence? Well, for number 2, I'm going to give it to Magneton. If Skarmory is great because it's a steel type, which allows it to wall most attacks, then Magneton is godly for the same reason, but it has a base 120 special attack, which makes it terrifying. So not only is it going to eat attacks, it's going to hit back twice as hard. Magneton learned Spark at level 24, which is pretty good. It's not that powerful, but for a mid-game attack, it's amazing. Just like Skarmory, Magneton walls Norman's gym, but because it's a much better special attacker, it's able to target his team's special defense, which is their weakest stat. Magneton already has a great advantage over Winona's gym, but you can teach it Thunderbolt or Thunder to give it an even greater edge over her team. Now, Skarmory loses the edge it has over Juan and Wallace since they can hit it for neutral damage. So does Magneton, but Magneton is an electric type, so it can hit them for super effective damage and make it a breeze. Seriously, Thunderbolt is going to be the move you use 90% of the time, but realistically, that's all it needs. Electric type is so good because electric type Pokemon tend to have high special attack. They also tend to have poor defenses, but not Magneton. It trades the natural speed electric types have for bulk. Electric type is also really effective against a lot of the gyms, especially when there is 1 flying gym and 2 water type specialists, but it's more like 2.5 considering Glacia has 3 Pokemon on her team which are water type. There's no grass or ground type specialists, so you're not going to run into too many Pokemon that can resist its electric type attacks. The only battle Magneton will struggle against is Drake, and that's because he has dragon type Pokemon, which resist electric type attacks. So that means in pretty much every other battle, it's going to be hitting Pokemon for super effective or neutral damage. So despite electric type attacks being the only special move it learns, that's all it really needs. You can give it Tri-Attack for coverage, as well as hidden power, and if you might get lucky, you might get a good hidden power for even more coverage, especially if it's a special attack. Magneton even has Thunder Wave, which can directly paralyze the target. It also learns Metal Sound, which lowers the target's special defense, but I don't think this move is really necessary. And it also learns Supersonic. It's not exactly the most consistent because it has 55 accuracy, but this is generation 3 before Confusion was nerfed, so there's a 50% chance the target will hurt themselves. Overall, Magneton just gets things done. It has bulk, a great type, and it gets stab electric type attacks coming off its base 120 special attack. Before I reveal number 1, here are some honorable mentions. Swellow. The main reason why Swellow is good is because it's fast and it has the ability Guts. This will boost its attack when afflicted by status. Then you can pair this with Facade, which will double in power when the user is afflicted by status, and a Swellow gets Stab Facade. But it's too much of a maintenance cost to go out of your way to get it burned or paralyzed, and keeping it that way. Alakazam. Now, Alakazam is insane. It's got base 135 special attack, and it's incredibly fast. And you can make the argument that it's better than Gardevoir, but like I said, I take availability very seriously. You have to trade it to evolve, and let's be honest, most people playing this game are not capable of trading it, so you're pretty much stuck with Kadabra. Rayquaza. Now, I don't see anything wrong with including legendaries, but I'm willing to make an exception for Rayquaza. Not only is it Salamence on steroids, but by the time you obtain one, it's level 70. That's 12 levels higher than the champion's ace Pokemon. It's capable of soloing the rest of the game. I just think that's completely unfair, but if you want to count Rayquaza, then go for it. After all, it's in the game, so it can be used, but I just think it's too broken. And now, for number 1, we've got none other than the undisputed king of Pokemon Emerald, Swampert. If you want to beat the game as quickly as possible, then Mudkip is going to be your starter. It's going to breeze through Roxanne, then evolve into Marshtomp just before Brawly. It's the bulkiest of the starters, so it has the best odds winning against him, and because it has a ground type now, it has 0 difficulty against Watson. Ground type is Watson's kryptonite, so not only are you immune to his electric type attacks, but a Mudshot is going to destroy his team. Flannery is weak to both water and ground, so that's 4 gyms right off the bat to which your starter steamrolls. After you get the HM for Surf, you can teach it to Swampert. You can also teach Swampert Ice Beam just in time for Winona, and because you have Surf, Tate and Liza have 3 Pokemon which are weak to water, It's just insane how efficient Swampert is in this game. Surf, Mud Shot, and Ice Beam cover everything Swampert will need. It essentially has a 4th move slot to put whatever it wants there. Now, Swampert has a 4 times the weakness to grass, but that's its only weakness. But even then, there's nothing to worry about considering how rare grass is. But even then, it might not even have to worry about most of the grass types. Winona has Tropius, but Tropius has a 4 times the weakness to Ice Beam. And Sydney has 2 grass types, but his Shift Tree doesn't even have a grass type attack, so that just leaves his Cacturn. So realistically, the only threats is the rival starter, Wally's Roselia, and Wallace's Ludicolo. But that's not all. Swampert has the highest base stat total of the 3 starters in this game, clocking in at 535. And fun fact, it's not just the highest amongst the starters in this game, but Swampert has attained the highest base stat total a starter Pokemon can reach. It's got base 100 HP, base 110 attack, and base 90 defense and special defense. I wouldn't even say that its base 85 special attack is something you can brush off. Its worst stat is its base 60 speed, but that's nothing concerning considering its amazing bulk and ability to hit hard. It's really crazy how broken Swampert is. Being water type in Emerald already elevates a Pokemon's viability, but Swampert takes it to a whole new level. It just has everything it needs, and it obtains whatever it needs to obtain before a gym. With a great stat spread, great type offensively and defensively, and a great move pool to hit anything it needs, it's no surprise Swampert is the best. But anyways, that's gonna do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, then let me know what you think. Do you agree or disagree? And what would you say are the top 10 best Pokemon to use in Emerald? And if you enjoy videos like this and you want to see more, then please consider sharing, and subscribing. But anyways, I'll catch you in the next one. Later.